Welcome to the Morgan You Know's podcasting network. You are in the Yeah We Know podcast, and we are so excited to be here today. I try to do three things at the same time, and I could not get the intro right, but that's okay. We are live and we are ready to go, and no one's watching, so it's perfectly fine right now. I am with Rod and Chris. Old man Chris, how are we today, bud?
I'm doing well, Jimmy, and let's just say, I'm the old man of the group, and it was nice to finally see some other old men in the ring with R-Truth and Shawn Michaels and Triple H, Hall of Famers, out there with our boy getting it done. Well,
yeah, DX coming back. Who knew DX was going to be back? Not too bad there. Chris is so excited he paused himself there. Rod, what are you hot about tonight?
If you have to put up an entire chart letting different people of the country you normally broadcast to know when to tune into your premium live event, you're probably having your premium live event at the wrong spot, okay? I understand, Jimmy, that the good people of Australia or New Zealand, whichever one it is, gave up a lot of money. That's fine. Money in the coffers of the WWE ultimately means for better shows, better wrestlers, better talent. I get all of that. But the last premium live event before WrestleMania, Jimmy, one where we could cook a few things up, we could maybe give some clarity. We're having it at 5 o'clock in the morning. What's happening?
It's happening is because they are so hot, people are going to pay for that. Rod, they had a house show draw 7,000 people this past weekend in California. WWE is on fire right now in both senses of the word. They are extremely hot on one side, and then there's some other stuff that's on fire in another way. But we are here to talk about Raw, Elimination Chamber, and maybe some maybe some SmackDown and WrestleMania matches as well. Gentlemen, I do think, Chris, I can't wait to go to you on this one. Let's go right to the main event of Raw. 1, 2, and the referee stops his count because he hears the bell ringing, but yet he would be the one to call for the bell. Chris King.
right before that bell rang, I was thinking to myself, this is a good match. It's nice, Gunther doesn't get involved in these schmaz type matches. Maybe we'll see like a good clean finish all the way through, and then Bloodline's going to do what Bloodline's going to do, right?
That's what they do, but this is all setting up. I think I know where this is going eventually here, but Rod, we think we know where this is going eventually, but it's been going there for a very, very long time.
And that's fine and dandy. I want to talk about this match. All right. They had me. They had me again. I honestly thought we were living in a world where we were about to crown Jey Uso Intercontinental Champion on Monday Night Raw, right? We had the whole Jey Uso entrance, right? Where he's coming in lighting the world on fire. You know what I mean? His pops have been huge recently. We could get Gunther cleared away from the Intercontinental Championship on the way to something else at WrestleMania here, even though the Mania, is still a bit cloudy as we speak. Yeah. But I still, Jimmy, damn it, this is why I love wrestling, because they still had me. I can't believe I didn't remember that Jimmy Uso was in the building, and of course that is how that match was going to end, that now Jimmy has twice cost him a championship belt, and so that, of course, is going to set up brother versus brother, which will then be able to be billed as a big-time match, and that's all well and dandy, but damn it, they had me again, because I thought we were going to say, yeet, to a new Intercontinental Champion.
Chris, do you think the destination of Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania, probably opening night 2, I would think, is worth that Gunther ending?
I mean, it feels a little bit late for this, right? Shouldn't have this happened last year?
The brother versus brother last year? Yes. Well, they were too busy defending the tag team championships at WrestleMania, so I don't know if that would have gone too
well. But like that's my question. Like, it made sense in the heat of the moment. They're super kicking each other. Jey says, "Deuces, ooses, I'm out."
Okay.
And he comes back. Why
for
not
3 days? Yeah.
Why not start that feud? Why didn't we see a brother versus brother then, instead of waiting all the way till now?
Rod, what is the reason why we didn't see a brother versus brother feud 6 months ago and we waited till now?
Because the whole idea here in wrestling is we try not to finish stories, right? We try to continue telling stories. We try to continue to have relevant matches and things that people care about and struggles that people need to go on and obstacles to overcome and roadblocks that get put in the way. That's why you don't just serve the people up Uso versus Uso the minute he comes back. That's ridiculous. You got to make the people wait for it.
So, stories never finish then, right?
Shut up, Chris. So I think that brother versus brother is always very difficult because, yeah, we know they're not really hating each other, okay? That makes things difficult. In wrestling history, you go back, brother versus brother is always hard. So they do have to build up the hatred for Jimmy, for Jimmy.
Refresh my memory. What happened when Randy Macho Man Savage took on Leaping Lanny Poffo? Tell me about that match. What happened in that?
It was on Saturday night's main event, and he beat him very quickly. And it was just because Savage was amazing and everyone hated Lanny Poffo. So I mean it's basically the same matchup, the same caliber of wrestlers.
Definitely guys on the same level.
They also,
Jimmy
Chris, they wanted
Lanny Poffo who can
tell
them apart.
No question. They wanted this to be for WrestleMania, Chris. It's the culmination again. They're kind of tie up all the bloodline stuff at WrestleMania except for the big one. And that is why they took this long to do that, I think. And I think they're doing it the right way because people are really, really behind Jay right now. He is as hot as he's ever been. And people are starting to get that hatred of Jimmy. They haven't really liked him a lot, but he needs to get on such a level of hatred that it's crazy. Pat McAfee down underneath me here doing his little yeet thing. That was awesome when Gunther looked at him and McAfee's like, yeah, sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that. I thought that was fun.
I thought McAfee helped that a lot. Like, I know Jay's been getting a lot of big pops and everything, but it felt like McAfee was really leading that crowd a little bit. Rod hates me right now because I'm giving McAfee props.
Well, no, say what you will about McAfee, but perfect example. When Michael Chandler earlier in the show called out Conor McGregor, and he did a promo. People are like, what the heck's going on? He takes his shirt off. They go to McAfee, and McAfee's like, no. Go to the crazy guy with the shirt off. Go to him. He knows how to sell stuff, Rod. And I think he got Nakamura over with the dance. He's getting Jey Uso or helping Jey Uso. I'm not giving him full credit for that. And then also he got a little bit of Gunther over there too, Rod.
Gunther doesn't need any help from Pat McAfee. All right. Jey Uso maybe is getting a little bit of a rub here from Pat. All hail Pat McAfee, king of all media. All right. Geez, let me jump on board with you two here. But I can do with a little less of the UFC guys showing up on my screen and cutting promos. I'm sure that I got nothing but that ahead of me,
buddy. It's just the beginning.
I could do with a lot less of that because I'm not into grown men literally actually beating the hell out of one each other. I'm not into that. I want everybody to be able to go home and talk to their families afterwards.
That's not a bad idea, but that is the beginning of a lot of cross promotion. I think you're going to see a lot of WrestleMania on UFC. 300, I think, is coming up, or 299 or 300 is coming up quickly. So we are going to see a lot of that. And, it's getting people out there. It's getting more people interested. I don't really mind it as long as they don't go too far in there. But Chris, your boy got a big win. How exciting were you? Excited for you to see that.
So of course, I'm always happy when Drew gets a dub, but like,
good guy.
They're having him fight again Friday for SmackDown, or I guess whenever, but he's fighting again on SmackDown, then going to Elimination Chamber. Are they really just loading him up for something that I'm not seeing, or what? Like, what's the long-term solution? Or is he going to go to the Janitor League, like Rod likes to call him?
I think him beating Cody Rhodes, who has only lost one match since coming back to WWE, and that was to Roman Reigns last year. I have a feeling he's not going anywhere because they would.
Wait a minute! Didn't Dominic beat Cody in a similar fashion with a schmaz and then a win? That didn't happen.
I don't think so. Well, Dominic's not going anywhere either.
I seem to recall Cody losing, but you're the expert on this podcast.
He may not have gotten pinned. Anyway, he's not going anywhere, Chris. I think he's going to be around. I think McIntyre's going to stay around.
Just filling out the number of dates left in his contract. We just got to boom. We just got to pick him off so he can go run and fight with Edge and Christian and Chris Jericho, who looks a heck of a lot more like an aging rock star than he does a wrestler these days. Sorry, guys who put Chris Jericho on Mount Rushmore on this very podcast network.
Oh, he was at one point. he's still trying to do his best here. I think we are going to get, gentlemen, I think we're going to get a cash in relatively soon. And I think R-Truth is going to cost Damian Priest the cash in because that is the only way to finish this story, Chris.
Listen, if R-Truth costs Damian Priest that Money in the Bank contract, then great. I think that's a great way to end it. I love everything R-Truth does. I am 100% behind him no matter what. Give me more. Give me a wild card, as they say, in the middle of the ring at any point in time, and I'm going to love it.
Jimmy, can we get Awesome Truth at WrestleMania? Are we going to get Awesome Truth at WrestleMania? Is that possibly the destination for these two?
We could for the titles. We could definitely get that because I could see them wanting to give R-Truth a big WrestleMania moment. Miz has had his. He won the main event of WrestleMania, albeit against John Cena.
But listen, we've thrown Ray a bone and given him the United States Championship late in his career. Why can't we just give Miz one last little tag team nod?
I think
the last person he doesn't win with is John Morrison.
Man,
even though I love me some Johnny Moore.
No question. I actually think that's a great idea, Rod. I'm gonna pencil that in for our tag team championship match at WrestleMania.
Because who else do we got, right? Like, listen, I love me some big strong boy. All right, I love the fact that there's a guy that basically comes up to my chest and he's out there wrestling, right? Like, I enjoy that about the big strong boy. And Pete Dunne. I wish he did a little less of breaking to the fingers and more just being a badass with other moves instead of breaking fingers all the time. But I get it, stringy hair, you're mad. I understand, but we need somebody else that people can get behind, right? We need a KO with Sammy. I mean? We like
DIY, baby.
Maybe, Jim, maybe. I'm not counting them out, all right? Can I give you that? I'll give you there a maybe.
That.
But we're going to need a little bit bigger of a pop out of the audience for those guys to get a WrestleMania match. No, Jim?
Well, so I think if you look at it from a wrestling standpoint, obviously DIY versus the British Strong Style would be an amazing matchup that people would not care about as much as you have Awesome Truth against the Damian Priest and Finn Balor. I mean, that's just the case, and Finn Balor would definitely take the pin there for sure. So I think that's a good idea.
Get to WrestleMania. I'm sorry,
yeah, we are. We're going to get to WrestleMania. A couple more things here on Raw. I think it's interesting what they're doing with CM Punk. After the show goes off the air, CM Punk comes out and kind of sends the crowd home happy. It's a nice little gimmick for him. Keep him out there. Keep people interested in him. Whatever. That's fine. I think that's what he does best. And we'll see him in another
So he's a
year
greeter. So he's essentially he's a WWE greeter.
No, he would be a whatever the opposite of a greeter is. He would be the goodbyer. He would be the travel safe. He's the guy that gets on the mic at the end saying, "That's the show for the night. Please drive home safely."
So he's essentially Elvis has left the building guy. CM Punk is now Elvis has left the building guy. The guy that comes on at the end of the show and says, "Listen, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here." That's
for all of our 70-year-old listeners. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Be a host or an MC.
But listen, haven't you guys ever walked out of a Walmart and the person that said thanks for coming in was the greeter? So I mean, I'll still stand with my original.
But what if the greeter's sitting there and doesn't greet you? What are they? What's their job? What are you doing?
What's CM Punk's job?
They don't say anything.
What's CM Punk's job, Jimmy? You just try to give him credit because he said goodbye to the people. Well, this is such. I mean, the CM Punk godding up that happens on this podcast is ridiculous. You think I blow smoke up Seth Rollins' ass? You blow smoke up CM Punk's ass.
Well, we can blow up smoke anyone's ass we want to now, can't we, Rod? That is our show, and we can do it. Speaking of asses, I don't know. The Elimination Chamber is coming up at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where all of us are. Well, Chris, so Chris, time is kind of an interesting aspect that people have made up. We don't have time to get into it. Elimination Chamber is coming up from Australia. And I have a feeling we might get the main event being Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley. That might go on last. I think Rhea Ripley is going to be over as everything. And I think that this match is going to be exactly what we think it is. It's going to be two big women beating the crap out of each other. Rhea's going to show some awesome strength and ultimately retain her title, and Rhea Ripley will win, Rod.
Man, I'm so against Nia Jax being in the main event of a pay-per-view. I mean, on just so many levels. I get what you're saying that Rhea's going to blow the door off the place. I mean, it's essentially going to be like, remember when Bad Bunny entered at San Juan, Puerto Rico?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's going to be, remember when Drew McIntyre You know what I mean? And
Sami Zayn. Yep.
So we're getting that for sure. And so I get it, right? I'm not a fool, but I'm just so against everything that is Nia Jax right now, right? And like, Jimmy, you're gonna have to help me out, okay? We're trying to up the Elimination Chamber match. We're trying to make this seem like a big deal. We got the little classic
what you're saying
schmaz.
here.
We got the classic schmaz with all of them out there. But then what are we going to do? Don't worry about this Elimination Chamber match.
Nope.
All of these people pale in comparison to this force that is Nia Jax, who's going to come out and have zero personality, and you're all going to hate her, but we're going to make sure to take more care of her than Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. What's happening?
Oh, no. Is Liv Morgan going to get killed before the Chamber, and Nia will come back in and try to win the Chamber?
Oh, see, that's what I worried about.
Interesting. Well, because and I'm glad you went there, Rod, because I noticed the same thing. You have all these number one contenders, and you've just made them nothing. Yes, you want to get Nia over, but there are so many women on the roster right now that you could have done that with. What's Shayna Baszler doing? She's sitting on her Instagram. She's sitting in the locker room, which is in the men's bathroom, apparently. Talking to people. There's so many things.
She's helping Zoe Stark win a battle royal. That's what she's doing, Jim.
Yeah, well, she's trying, Chris. Who you got here, bud? I'm sure Rod picked Rhea.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rhea too. I don't want to see Nia get a title. I'm not interested in that character at all. All right, I understand it, but
I think they really had a good chance with the Chelsea Green idea that I had instead of Piper Niven coming back, Nia Jax being her second. I think that would have at least made it more interesting because Chelsea Green does such a great job.
Oh, but, shout out to my girl. I honestly thought for a second that they were going to do that to us. Right? I really thought for a second. I was like, oh, they just put her over in Riyadh. You know what I mean? She's coming out with a fancy new thing, right? No Piper with her. I'm like, they're just going to throw her in the match because they need somebody else to get wasted at the beginning of it. But alas, they did not.
I was going to say, if she won the Royal Rumble or the Battle Royal, I would have actually found a site to put money on that Nia Jax was going to come in and destroy her.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, they definitely would have moved for a side for that.
For sure. What are we going to hear, guys? This is kind of a secondary thing here. What are we going to hear on the Grayson Waller effect when Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are interviewed? Are we going to get a challenge, perhaps?
All right, I'll go first. I want to ask another question here real quick, and then I'll give you my... Actually, I'll have a question after my answer here. I think what we're going to get is we're going to get Seth obliterating Rock and Roman. Right. Okay. I think essentially we're going to have Seth is going to be the one who's going to be sticking up here. He's going to be the one dropping barbs, and Cody's going to be sitting back and trying to be above it. And the question I would ask is, how great does the man Cody look if he has to have someone else fight his battles? That would be my question. But it seems to me that's where we're headed on the Waller effect. I could be wrong, but that's my answer, Jim.
Well, Cody did kind of come out and say a few things, but yeah, there's going to have to be a Cody slapping Rock very soon before this probable tag team match takes place, Chris.
What are we doing? Why is what so much? What's this tag team match? Why spend all this time with a Royal Rumble, a Elimination Chamber PLE? And we're going to say, doesn't matter what happened. You guys fought, won, don't get that main event. Don't get that title shot. Whoever wins the elimination wins.
They're going to get the championship match. If they have
WrestleMania.
Yes, they will. It'll be on night 2.
So you're saying that if there's a tag match, we're going to see both of these guys fight 2 nights, Rollins and Roman Reigns?
Yes. Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes will all wrestle 2 nights. And what I think is a good storyline here is your boy, Drew McIntyre, who never wants to take anybody when they're hurt, never wants to take advantage of everybody. Well, he did that yesterday. And guess what? He will also do that perhaps when Seth Rollins is in this tag team match. He wins the Elimination Chamber, and then he has to fight Seth Rollins, who's injured already and had to wrestle on night 1. So that could happen at WrestleMania, Chris.
That'd be crazy. That would be crazy. Listen, if I see Roman Reigns wrestle 2 nights in a row, you might be able to convince me that hell is freezing over and pigs can fly, because I haven't seen him wrestle barely once.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Every couple months.
I like where you're going with that. I like that, Rod. I like that a lot.
Yeah, no, that's a good line by our boy here. All right. And I kind of feel like there's some veiled shots at Seth Rollins going on here from Chris there, right? And I want to let it be known that I don't appreciate that. You're kind of roundabout way shooting my guy out here, saying that we're wasting time with the tag match, and basically the only person that you're inferring is wasting time with is my guy. I don't appreciate it.
Okay? Listen, I don't know if you can realistically count on somebody coming back from an injury like he is to wrestle 2 nights in a row. All right. And if he does wrestle 2 nights in a row, you need to be worried because he's probably losing his belt.
Listen, Drew McIntyre wants to go wrestle with all his friends in AEW. So I'm not the least bit worried about Drew McIntyre taking Seth Rollins' title. All right. I'm not the least bit worried about my guy Seth Rollins. Okay. There's literally only 1 to 2 people who are a bigger deal in the WWE than Seth Rollins, right? He can basically write his own ticket. Look at how they're protecting him already. I'm not worried about my guy.
Like a Randy Orton?
No. What I do worry about, though, all right, is if we get the tag team match on top of these other matches, who's getting bumped out of WrestleMania that's going to bother us, because that's just one more 15-minute segment that somebody can't have.
Well, we'll talk about this in a little bit. I did some research on last year's WrestleMania, the match count. I've got a match count here. I think we're okay. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Let's move to the women's Elimination Chamber match, where we have Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Naomi, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, and Tiffany Stratton. If I am a betting man, which I am not, it's got to be Bianca and Rhea. Bianca's going to win this, Rod.
I got the man.
I mean, Becky's seriously, really, Bianca and Rhea have such a big feud going on. You know, they're talking a lot. I'm going to go Becky. Actually, I'm going to go Becky on this one. Becky.
I kind of thought that's what you meant, but I was trying to step in there to seem smarter. But yeah, no, give me Becky Lynch. And the other thing that I will guarantee you is Tiffany Stratton will take a bunch of moves from some people and then be an absolute non-factor in this match. But she will come out being impressive because she is always impressive. All she has to do is walk out from Gorilla and appear at the top of that stage, and Tiffany Stratton is impressive.
Rod has a new favorite, Chris.
Right?
No, wait a minute. Not like she's not. I mean,
no. There's the favorite. It's like the Rod's hardwood hierarchy, or Rod's matted hierarchy, or whatever. We have the queen, which is the highest, and then we go down from there. All right, Chris.
I mean, if it's not Becky, I have another "what are we doing" question. Right?
I hope it's nothing that we think of, and Chris just goes on a tirade next week. I think that would be great.
Why else are we building this up? Why else have this feud with Nia Jax to get her out of the way so then it can be Becky and Rhea at WrestleMania?
Sometimes it makes sense to do what makes sense. And believe me, under other regimes, I would have said Nia Jax is winning, and so is Raquel Rodriguez. But I think we're going to get what we need to here, Rod.
Decent pops for our girl Raquel last night, right? I think it was a smart move bringing her back in California, right? Southern California, nice landing spot for a Raquel Rodriguez there. Good call by the WWE.
We have the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor versus British Strong Style, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I think this could be a terrific match. It's going to go longer than it normally would just because there's 3 matches on the show, or 4 matches on the show. I do have Judgment Day retaining here, Chris.
I'm going to go with British Strong Style.
Let's go.
Because I don't want Judgment Day to win, so I'm going to root for your boy Pete Dunne.
Chris, again, every pay-per-view, you pick who you want to win, not who you even think is going to win. And I like that. Chris is our fan of the night. Rod.
I'm pretty sure that the WWE has commissioned a mini-size tag team belt ready for the big strong boy when it is finally time for him to be a WWE tag champion, but I don't think it is ready quite yet. And I'd love to pick against a Judgment Day here, but I've started to realize that we don't have a darn thing for Damian Priest and Finn Balor to do if they're not rolling into WrestleMania as the tag team champions. So give me Judgment Day here.
Unless it's against themselves, but each other, and which would be amazing. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think that's going to be the case. So in the one match that I really can see, I can see 3 people winning this match, and I'm not sure. I may hold off on this, but we have the men's elimination chamber. We have Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winning Bobby Lashley. Of course, I apologize, Rod.
Thank you.
The legend killer Randy Orton, the good guy, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, the best wrestler created ever, and of course, LA Knight. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Rod, I want to hear from you. Who do you think's coming out of this?
I want to delay for a little bit, just like you. We've danced around it this whole entire podcast. Okay, I don't understand why we haven't tried to pin down the man wearing red this evening. I might add, wearing red this evening after the group that he has hated and goes to sleep at night dreaming about their demise came out and helped his guy, his man, Drew McIntyre, win a match. And somehow Chris is just okay with this. The ways that I've said Chris has twisted himself into a pretzel for Drew McIntyre continue to amaze me. I thought that Chris had some morals left inside that old withered body of his, and that after the bloodline blatantly cheats in favor of his guy, that he would be against it. And Jimmy, he came on here and he was not. He was not, Jim.
Listen, I don't believe that there was any interference there. The only interference was causing Cody not to pay attention to the match that he was involved in. All right. He made that mistake. It wasn't Drew's fault.
So, right. You're ridiculous.
Pretzels. Chris is literally, we should start calling them the old pretzel. That's what we should literally start calling them right now, because what Drew McIntyre's done to him.
They came down, Cody turned around, stopped paying attention to the match. You got to stay focused in the ring, Rod, all right?
You were dropping bars there for a second. Came down.
No.
Cody turned around. All right, let's get back to the elimination
chamber.
Chamber,
Chris.
Jimmy.
So Chris, who do you have winning? I want to know who do you have winning? Who
I am rooting for LA Knight. All right, he's my guy. He's the one I love the most.
Are you picking LA Knight?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of ways they can go. One of the craziest things that I actually kind of like, because I would hate it so much, is Logan Paul winning this.
Okay.
Taking on Rollins at WrestleMania, having 2 belts.
I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. He's one of the people I think could win this. Rod.
Listen, Logan Paul, thank you for participating. Kevin Owens, thank you for participating. Bobby Lashley, thank you for participating. All right. LA Knight, thank you for participating. Okay. Yeah. This is coming down to my guy, Drew. All right. My guy, Drew, because now I'm going to have to just start going on the side of Drew McIntyre. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll finally see Chris go against Drew McIntyre. If I start pulling for Drew McIntyre, Jimmy, maybe we'll finally see Chris go against him. What do you think of my Jedi mind trick here?
I love that, because he's going to start saying, now he's a bad guy. I hate him. He's horrible. Yeah, Rod, I agree with you. I think it's Drew's turn to get a matchup at a big event in front of a lot of people. And he and Rollins, if Rollins is anywhere near what he can do, they're gonna blow the house down. I love it.
They've had some great matches already. Let's have these guys set up for another banger. As much as I give Drew a bunch of guff, but he's my guy now, and it's because he's a tactician in the ring. He's got 7 moves, and he does them really, really well, and he makes them look pretty darn powerful. And give me some Drew. I love Drew, Chris. I love Drew.
Okay, so let's do bonus content here. How about Chris? Who does Logan Paul pin to win the Elimination Chamber? Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, or Drew McIntyre?
Kevin Owens. If Logan Paul wins, he pins Kevin Owens.
Ooh, last. Okay, Rod. Who does Drew pin?
I think Drew pins Randy Orton, because I think Chris was on to something there where he keeps throwing Randy's name out there, right? Randy has not lost since he came back. So I think Randy's going to come off looking pretty good in this Elimination Chamber match. It's a kind of Viper match, right? We're going to hear Michael Cole so often talk about how Randy Orton can outthink and, he's willing to do anything. And so much of that stuff's going to come out. So I got Drew pinning Orton, because again, Bob Lashley, thank you for coming. But you have an Andre the Giant Battle Royal trophy. Remember to go home and polish that after you lose the Elimination Chamber in Australia.
I think that might happen as well, but I'm just going to be a little different here. I think him pinning Logan Paul last would be good, because I think everyone's going to think Logan Paul's going to win, and then Drew actually does get the pin there. Our boy LA Knight, honestly, about 3 months ago, maybe, but they just haven't kept up with that. Maybe he and Logan Paul do something in the chamber to cause a Mania.
That's it.
Matchup.
They better. That's it. They better, because if they don't throw that lifeline out to our guy LA Knight, he's just going to be drifting on out to sea. He's just going to be Tom Hanks and Castaway. He's going to be Chuck Nolan, just floating out there in the middle of nowhere, and he's going to be hoping that he can land on an island someday, learn how to fish, and do dentistry with ice skates.
Okay, so let's go quickly to our WrestleMania kind of preview here just to see where we are. We are getting Cody versus Roman. As of today, we're getting Cody versus Roman. We're getting Seth versus an Elimination Chamber winner, which is probably going to be Drew McIntyre or Kevin Owens. We have Cody and Seth versus Roman and Rock, probably. I should have said this before, but WrestleMania 39 had 13 matches total between the 2 days. 13. And they had everything else going on too. The pomp and circumstance, I didn't count that. Just counted the matches that happened. And I have right now 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I have 12. We have Rhea or Nia versus, no, it's going to be Rhea against Bayley, or against Becky Lynch. Io Sky versus Bayley. Logan Paul is going to have a WrestleMania match against someone. Gunther is going to have a WrestleMania match against someone. And we know now it's not going to be Jimmy. It's going to be Jimmy and Jay going at WrestleMania. Sami Zayn might be a quiet person to throw in there with Gunther. I think they might have a pretty decent match. Judgment Day versus Awesome Truth. I'm writing that down, Rod. I think I like that a lot. I think that's a really good matchup there. You've got to think Dominic is going to have a match somewhere on WrestleMania. He'll be on WrestleMania decent, but you've got to think he's going to have some kind of match. Maybe against Braun Breaker, Rod.
Ooh, okay. I like that. I like those guys squared off a little bit. You could also convince me that we could throw Dom towards Logan Paul, right? You could also convince me that that would possibly work, right? And you could have LA Knight, Braun Breaker, you know what I mean? Just further proof that it's going to be completely over for LA Knight.
Ooh, you do not want LA. Chris, you do not want to see LA Knight versus Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. You don't want to see that. No, he's good. No, you don't want to see that. We're going to have the Party Crashers, Asuka and Kyrie versus some tag team, you would think.
Bianca and Jade Cargill, Jimmy.
They got to do it quick. They've got to do that quick.
What else are they going to do with Bianca? They're not going to sit Bianca out of WrestleMania.
Well, calm down. I got that coming up.
Are we going to see a team up with them before we see them fight? You think that's how it's going to work?
Yes. Yeah. So Jade Cargill needs continuous seasoning. Okay. Looks terrific. Did a really good short segment in the Rumble. Putting her in a tag team gets her used to it again and coming up. I like the tag team because you don't have to remember as much. Honestly, I think that's really good. So from last year's WrestleMania, that's it. So that's 12 matches. Last year's WrestleMania had these people in it that aren't on this show. Bianca Belair, John Cena. Don't think we're going to see him. Austin Theory, Charlotte Flair, Lita, Trish Stratus, Rey Mysterio, Strowman, Ricochet, the Street Profits, the Alpha Academy, Viking Raiders, Sheamus, Brock Lesnar and Edge. Don't think either of those are going to be around. Omos, Natalya, Shotzi, Ronda Rousey, Baszler, DeVille, and Chelsea Green. So there's still a lot of people that are on the roster that are not in this. We are going to have some kind of battle royal, I'm assuming, on the men's and women's leading up to WrestleMania. I just don't think it's going to be there. And then where's our boy AJ Styles, Rod? Where's he going to go?
Is there a match that we think really needs black jeans? If there's a match that we really think needs black jeans, I think that's where AJ Styles is going to go. But actually, he's not going to be at WrestleMania because we just started birthing the AJ Styles is going to battle with his former crew, right? Because there's really a reason for the Good Brothers to be teamed up with Michin, right? Like that's really a team up that everybody absolutely wants and needs. So now seeing AJ Styles go against them, so I don't see that at WrestleMania. Out of all those names that you said to me, Jimmy, a lot of those I'm sad aren't going to be there. But there's absolute zero chance Bianca Belair is not at WrestleMania. I mean, there's just zero chance. They got Montez and Bianca show on Hulu right now. Zero chance she's not at WrestleMania.
I mean, I think that must be it. How about Andrade, Chris? Do you have any interest in seeing Andrade? Just came back.
In WrestleMania?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, wow.
You know, this is going to lead into a question.
Okay.
More specifically, probably to you, Jimmy. But like, what I want to see at WrestleMania is I want to see belts. I want to see belts on the line. I want to see belts changing hand. Now, let me ask you this, Jimmy. What's the record for most belts changing hand during one premium live event?
During a WrestleMania.
Jimmy, I'll take this one. It's actually 37, Chris.
Uh-oh.
There was
There
a
we
time
go.
back when they had
There we go.
special belts, right? They had a TV belt, they had a European belt. They actually had 4 different tag team divisions. There was a hardcore belt. There was a 24/7 belt. I believe there was an Antarctic belt for some reason. There was just a whole lot of belts happening.
I think probably, Chris, you're looking at 4 or 5 title changes because they did a lot of title changes. And it was like, what's that, X7? When they had a couple triple threat matches and the titles changed hands. So there was a few.
But what would make this WrestleMania 40, larger than any other WrestleMania?
You want all the belts to change hands.
Give it to me.
Well, let's take
you
a look.
You can make a case for Bayley. You can make a case.
Yes.
You can make a case for Becky.
You can book Bayley. Book Bayley. I'll give you
Bayley's
Bayley right now. Book it.
Yeah.
And don't even talk about it. Done.
You can make a case for Awesome Truth. You can make a case for Logan Paul losing.
No.
That's a tough one. It depends who it is. That's the tough one. He might
You
retain.
can make a case for Rollins losing, and you can make a case for Roman Reigns losing.
Gunther?
Gunther, I think that depends more on who he's fighting, but he's already broken the record. He needs to move on to to like the larger titles where he needs to be.
He needs to go against Cody.
So you can make a case for Gunther to lose.
Yeah. I think Io Sky loses. Boom, over and done with. I think Awesome Truth wins. That one you could.
I love
me,
that.
Right? There's
I love
two.
That.
There's 2. All right, and then the third is going to come down to Gunther. All right, or actually the third is probably Rollins. So the fourth is going to come down to Gunther because I think Roman Reigns is walking away with his belt. I've continued to tell you guys this, and I think Logan Paul's walking away with his belt.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan You Know's podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris, and we appreciate everything from our listeners, our emails, our tweets. Thank you very much. Have yourselves a fantastic day.
Yes, and make sure you tune in for some basketball talk. All right, we got me, Jimmy, and Chris, and it is booked. It's on the calendar. Father Pete is coming back to talk basketball on the Morgan You Know podcasting network. Tell your friends sometime around March 7th, Father Pete will be on the Balls and Brew Show talking about hoops. You know you need to tune in for that.
Goodbye, net. Yeah.
Charlotte, I saw you.